This episode is for Canada's 50 plus and seniors. This has been a fun election, hasn't it? Well, today we're going to make the conservative argument for you, and we're going to make it a little differently than the liberals typically would. We're going to leave the insults out, we're going to leave the barbs and jabs, and we're just going to talk what's in this for you. I feel like seniors are getting left out of the conversation, and that's why today it's all about you. Let's go. It's not just seniors that are getting left out of the conversation this election. It's the 50 plus crowd too. So whether you're a senior in training or almost a senior in training or a senior, this is all about you. This is the over 50 crowd. Good morning, Canada. Welcome to Bakes on Things. This one's for all of you who are over 50. Yeah, I'm talking to you, the folks who built this country, the ones who paid their dues, the ones who raised their families now, the ones who've paid their taxes every step of the way, and the ones we all don't seem to be talking about here, other than making them feel guilty for not voting conservative because they're not in it for their kids, or for guilty for voting liberal because they just want to protect their wealth. But right now, this election barely talks to you otherwise, unless, of course, you count the Liberal Party assuming that you'll just quietly check the red box out of habit, or the Conservatives suggesting you should only vote to protect your grandkids, like I said. So there are two perspectives and there are two angles that are pressuring you, but none of those angles seem to be about you. So today we're going to talk about you. And now I'm coming at you from the conservative angle. I'm going to tell you that right now, but I want to give you the arguments in a calm way, built on the data, built on the stats, built on the numbers. Because this election is just as much about your retirement, your health care, your savings, and your dignity as it is about anyone else, including the next generation. So it's important, I think, we have this episode. So stick with me here all the way to the end. We've got lots to talk about. The first thing I want to cover is your financial security. You know, it's funny because we talk about all seniors and everybody over 50 as being built up wealthy, nest egg, bought your house for 28,077, now it's worth 3 million. But that's not every story across Canada. That's not every senior story, and it's not every 50 plus story. So let's talk about how you've spent a lifetime saving, budgeting, and building your nest egg. Some of you are in that situation I just mentioned, but many of you are not. And now, every time you go to the grocery store or the gas pump, it feels like that money means less and less and less, despite the work you put in to earn it and to save it. So let's break it down. Here's what each party offers you. And I'm not talking about their slogans or their hashtags or anything like that. What are they actually offering you? What are the facts of what the two different parties? I'm not going to go into NDP or anybody else right now. I know that's unfortunate because we're not supposed to be a two-party system in Canada, but it is the reality of this election. And right now, the Conservatives are offering seniors in particular an ability to earn up to $34,000 a year without paying tax. That allows you to have that second job and still not have your income reduced by CPP. And that's a huge it's huge for part-time earners or those helping family. Now, they're also talking about extending RSP contributions to the age of 73 so that your money can actually grow tax deferred longer. This is also when your balances are the biggest in your savings, and so therefore that could be significant growth tax free. There's also a promise to keep the retirement age at 65, and that's a full stop, as Mark Carney likes to say. So we can steal his words for him. There you go. We did take a slogan, but we flipped it back to the conservative side. Capital gains tax deferral for Canadian investments is big, right? It's more control over your estate. So these are huge things being proposed to you. Now, from the other side, I said we'd be calm and fair in this. So here's what the Liberals are offering. Now, the Liberals are offering currently a temporary 5% boost to GIS. Now, this is one thing you have to really consider in this is this would only be the first year after winning the election. So it's only for 1 year. They're also offering a 25% reduction in registered retirement income funds, or RIFs, in their withdrawal minimums. Again, just for 1 year. Retirement age stays at 65, but no new relief for working seniors. So when we go back to the fact that conservatives would let you earn 34,000, the liberals are not changing this particular thing at all. So there is no room for you to earn more. So, the truth when you compare these two plans so far is that the Liberal plan gives you a bit of a band aid and does have some help in it for the first year post election. But the Conservative plan gives you a toolkit for financial independence that lasts. It actually goes well beyond even if they had a four-year term. So, in that sense, I think, it's a good thing to be leaning conservative rather than liberal. Um, and so now we need to get into the affordability and taxes. What are the difference here? Because how does this affect you? We've heard how it affects families, but let's talk about this affordability because honestly, with retirement incomes the way they are today, for most of you, you actually feel this more than most people. And yet we're still not really talking about it. So a lot of you are on a fixed income, if not all of you. Inflation is punishing to that fixed income right now. And housing prices, well, even if you did become mortgage free over your last 10 or 15 years, you're still watching your kids struggle. It's not an invalid argument to say you're voting for your kids to some degree here. Your grandkids are going to have to delay buying, and your property taxes yourselves are going to rise. So they're going to become like a mortgage payment all on their own. So, what are the platforms saying about this with our two parties? Well, the conservatives are cutting the lowest income tax bracket from 15% to 12.75%. That actually is going to help every single Canadian, from your grandkids to your kids to yourselves to even the rich and wealthy. They're even going to see a tax cut because it's on that lowest bracket. They're also talking about ending the federal carbon tax on heating, groceries, and gas, which would actually be repealed, not just paused. They're talking about increasing the TFSA contribution room for investments in Canada, tax-free growth. And this is big too, because this gives you that extra amount you can put into your TFSA and invest it in Canadian companies helping to build the Canadian economy. They're also talking about building 2.3 million homes for 2030, and to stabilize the market. And that's to do this for your family more so than you. I get that, but it is still something to be considering when you are considering the family argument that everybody seems to want you to consider. The Liberals, now they also have a tax cut, cutting the lowest tax bracket slightly from 15% to 14%. So, in that sense, the tax bracket cut is lower quite a bit. Now, it doesn't affect you because they're not in their world, because they're not really allowing you to earn more income. So it doesn't really change anything much for you. But the GST rebate for low income seniors will still exist and will continue to exist. A $1 billion fund to build affordable rentals, which rarely reach rural seniors, but still, it is a thing. No end in sight for the carbon tax. The reality is there are some Liberal MPs that are calling it what it is, just a temporary pause for now. And they'll actually leave the law in place so that they have the ability to increase the carbon tax at their whim. That's a very scary precedent to set. Here's the difference. So when you look at these tax things, the Liberals say they care, but your bills are still going to be going up. So there's a bit of a disconnect there. The Conservatives say, we hear you, and actually offer a path to lower costs. Now, could the costs be even lower? Sure, absolutely. But the fact of the matter is, the Conservatives are actually giving you a path to lower costs, whereas the Liberals are not. Now, a big issue in this election, as it always is in all elections, is healthcare and really aging well. I mean, we all want to age well, and healthcare is a huge part of that. So let's talk about what really matters to you, 50 plus, and even more so our seniors, your health. We all know healthcare is stretched thin already. I mean, the reality of the picture right now is that there are long wait times, overworked nurses, and a shortage of family doctors. And some of your family doctors are probably retiring as well. And we can really see this problem especially prevalent outside of our biggest cities, in the rural areas and even in the smaller towns. So, on that note, what are the parties saying for our 50 pluses and seniors? Well, conservatives are proposing a very interesting new Blue Seal program. Now, I find this to be one of the most interesting proposals of all in the election, and it doesn't get enough attention. It goes by allowing trained foreign doctors and nurses to fast track into the Canadian workforce. This is huge. This would actually get rid of or significantly reduce the doctor shortage. They would support also community based elder care and aging in place, meaning you can stay at home and age at home instead of going elsewhere to do so. They also propose tougher penalties for violent and repeat criminals to protect you and your community. See, if you want to age in place, you also want to be safe. You're at a more vulnerable spot with the older you get. And the more that there's a risk of crime, the more scary that becomes. And perhaps a home looks better than aging in place, but you worked so hard for that home. So why wouldn't you want to stay? Let's go to safer streets. Now, here are what the Liberals are doing: a national dental and farmer care expansion. Yes, that does sound good. They're looking at expanding those things. The problem with the Liberals sometimes is bureaucracy. We'll talk about that. A long list of transfer payments, but no new frontline workers promised. So that's a bit scary when it comes to healthcare. What do we do? Where are those payments going? And more funding for infrastructure. But it's very unclear in terms of the timelines where that funding is going, and when, or what the direct benefit would actually be to our senior population. So there isn't a lot of detail there, but it is a proposal, and we do need to bring it up. So let's be honest. What you have to look for here is bureaucracy. There's definitely plans from both sides. There's no question about that. It does lean conservative. Even on a conservative podcast like this, we see that. But you need a doctor, you need a nurse, and you need peace of mind. And that's where I think the conservative plan actually does deliver better for seniors, regardless of whether you're voting for your kid's future or not, because it helps to solve the bottleneck we're seeing in healthcare today. Think about the times it takes to get your tests. Think about the time it takes to get a new doctor if you needed to get one. All of this stuff should be addressed from the conservative plan in particular. Now, let's go beyond policy a little bit here to wrap things up, because this is really about your dignity as seniors. This is about your dignity as almost seniors and as almost seniors. You paid into this country for 40 plus years now. 50 plus, you are, maybe not 40 plus years yet if you're right on 50, but you're getting closer. You deserve more than a temporary rebate and vague promises. And what I am concerned about in the Liberal plan is that a lot of it is vague. There are no real hows they're going to get there, especially when it comes to the infrastructure of the healthcare system. Under conservative government, you're treated as a valuable contributor. You can see that in their plan. All you have to do is pull up the plan, the costed plan that they just came up with, and you can see that it's in there. You are not a financial liability to them. And Pierre Poilievre has talked about this endlessly, especially when he was talking about and releasing his plan for $34,000 tax bracket limit for seniors who want to work. Your work and your savings are respected in that sense. You're given choices, not forced into programs. You're not being forced to get a part-time job. It's just if you do, you're going to benefit, right? And it's not designed by 30-year-old bureaucrats. It's designed by people who've done their research on this. This isn't about left or right necessarily. It's about being heard. And currently, you're being heard and respected mostly by the conservative proposals. So even though you might be out there going, I always voted Liberal, the reality is we've seen what the Liberals have done to us over the last 10 years. We aren't going to harp on that more. You can find that everywhere. But what we aren't seeing is what the benefit of the senior is to the seniors. And yes, we need to talk about the great kids and grandkids too, because that's a benefit to you as well. Because I know that you care about them more than anything. I mean, often the times, my own mom talks about that about my kids, caring about grandkids, maybe even more than she cares about myself or my sister. But that's only natural because that's the way it happens with grandparents, right? So if you vote conservative, it's not because you're voting against someone, it's because you want lower taxes that affect both you and your family so that they can raise a family too and maybe get into the position that you're in today. You want affordable housing because even though you've already got yours and perhaps it's paid off, they need to have that opportunity too. So I know you want to do that. And that allows them to live nearby too if they can buy a house. Imagine that. They can't buy a house. They can't live in your neighborhood. And that makes them far away. Fiscal responsibility, well, they don't drown in debt, and you don't want them drowning in debt, but you also don't want to give them all of your wealth you've earned either. So for them to be able to earn it and not drown in debt themselves, they need that. But even if you don't have kids, you still deserve a government that sees you as part of Canada's future, not just its past. It's a well respected past, but you're still part of our future. People are living longer and longer these days, and that's going to be you too. So you deserve that future as well. So, to all of our incredible Canadian seniors, to all of our incredible people that are seniors in training, and to all of our incredible people that are just over 50 in general, you are not forgotten. What you are doing and what you are doing when you vote is so well respected. You are not invisible. You are not a vote to be assumed or a vote to be guilted into. Nobody wants that. Listen, we get it. You are the rock of this country, and you deserve a government that knows it. And to be quite honest with you, the only one who's really talking about you at all is Pierre Poilievre. So, this election, don't vote for the same promises with no delivery. We've seen this movie before, and it was a talkie. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It was a talkie, but whatever. We've seen it. We've seen this movie before. Don't vote for short-term gimmicks. Vote for a plan. Vote for your independence personally, vote for your family as well, and vote for your dignity. And maybe, just maybe, vote for the first government in a very, very long time that truly sees you and will deliver. That, in our opinion, is voting conservative. Thanks for watching. Please share with your senior friends. Please share with everybody in your family. Like, subscribe. It always helps the channel as well. But we also want to make sure we get these types of messages out. Thank you for all you've done for this country, for those who have served and for those who have not served in the military, but served us in other ways, like in their jobs and careers and volunteering and everything else you do for us. Thank you. And we'll catch you next time.